Da-da-da-da. You did not surprise me this week. She got me off guard last week.
Welcome back to High Heels Happy Hour.
Welcome, welcome.
I'm still Christina.
And I'm still Ingrid.
And today we're going to talk about one of our favorite subjects, beauty. But before that, we need to do our check-in. How was your week?
My week was great. It's been really crazy, busy, and a lot of appointments. I've been a little bit all
and
over
sick
the
kids.
place. And sick kids.
Yeah.
And when one gets sick, they all get sick. But other than that.
But you're here and you're not sick.
No.
That's good.
Fingers crossed. Okay. And how about you?
It was great. We ended up on the cover of Vero Beach magazine.
That's right. I
So,
don't know.
Yeah, it came. I thought it was interesting. So they did this article with me and my husband. It was months ago, and they said it was going to be March issue. So I wasn't even. And all of a sudden, came up on social media, and the magazine came out. Now, I hadn't seen any. I thought they were sending pictures. No. It's like, okay, all right, but yeah, it's fun. It's quite an honor, I have to say. And as I said, really as an interior decorator, one of your you want to be published in a magazine. That's great if something you've done is in a magazine. So, guess check done that.
I think you had a few pages on there.
Yeah, it was great.
And the front cover, you can frame that.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Pretty cool.
So, any life hacks?
Well, for those of us that do a little bit of networking, sometimes you'll get someone that you ask for their phone number and they may not want to give it to you. So I'm going to give you a quick tip to realize if they give you a right number or a wrong number.
Mm-hmm.
And that is to repeat the number, repeat the wrong number back. So if it's 8097, say 8079. And if they say, yeah, that's right, it's fake. Don't even bother.
Well, maybe that's a good for people that are dating.
Well, that too.
I mean, it's been a long time, so I wouldn't know.
I'm like, well.
I'm sure that's a good dating tip too.
Yeah. So so you get 2 hacks this week.
Oh.
Dating and networking.
Yeah.
So.
Okay. Well, I'm going to change lanes completely.
Yeah.
And of course, I have a food hack because that's what I do. So I don't try not to eat so many carbs, and especially kind of carbs from rice and pasta and things that don't really add a lot. I get my carbs from fruit and vegetables. But I do sometimes miss kind of rice. So I did, not that I love rice, but it's kind of like the filling part of it. So cauliflower rice, I've tried several times and it can get really boring. But now I properly learned how to cook it. So it's so easy. So you just put the cauliflower in your blender, make it into rice form. You don't need to prep it, don't need to steam anything. And then you saute it with like onion. I did some shallots and some garlic.
So you don't have to cook it before?
No, you just put it in the pan with a little oil. And then whatever flavors you want, you could just put whatever spices, herbs. But then I did a little garlic and so easy. It takes like 2 seconds. It's way shorter than making rice. We'll just put it that way. So easy and it gets so flavorful. So bam, there you have it. All right. Now, so today we're going to talk beauty and we have a very special guest on. She's quite the superstar and someone that I got to know over the last couple of months and super exciting to introduce to you Dr. Anita Seluja. She is an aesthetic board certified dermatologist practicing on the Space Coast, so a little north of where we are in the Melbourne area. And she's been practicing there since 2001. She's founder of Dermatology Plus Plastic Surgery for Your Best Self. I think that's such a great name. With locations in the Indian Atlantic and Melbourne, Florida areas. And fun fact, Dr. Saluja is not the #1 most experienced Botix, Dysport, filler, and Sculptra injector in Central Florida and top 50 in the U.S.
Oh my goodness.
So without any further ado, let's introduce you to Dr. Saluja.
Hi. Great to see you both.
Great to see you. Thank you for taking your time. I know you're a very busy doctor to come on.
Oh,
I
my pleasure.
Dr. Saluja's podcast 2 weeks ago.
Oh, fun.
Yeah, that was fun. Should be
Yeah.
out anytime.
Yeah.
Love it.
So, Dr. Saluja, I think first and foremost, why don't you just tell, because bios are fun, but it's more fun to hear it from you. So tell us a little bit about kind of your professional background. I saw on you, I read up on you, and you started as a mathematician.
Yeah. So I grew up in the Upper Peninsula of Michigan, Sault Ste. Marie, and I another fun fact, I got my degree in mathematics, my bachelor's degree, at the age of 15. So I was in, this snowy weather and there wasn't a lot to do, and the library was my happy spot. And so I spent a lot of time in the library.
Wow.
And I think I would be a librarian if I wasn't a dermatologist. So I'm a northerner, and I loved the people there, but I got tired of the weather. So first I went to University of Michigan for medical school. So our motto is "Go Blue," and then I moved to Atlanta and did dermatology training at Emory University. So it's a long process, right? High school and then undergrad and then med school for 4 years and residency for 3 years. And then I moved to the Space Coast to Melbourne, also the sunny Florida, in 2001 to practice dermatology. In 2017, I started dermatology plus plastic surgery for your best self with Dr. Rebecca Novo, who's interestingly also from my hometown in northern Michigan, and she happened to get engaged to another physician in this area. So we serendipitously ended up in the same town. So we thought it was meant to be to start something together, and we wanted a fresh and modern practice. And so we can't believe it's been 7 years already. And then over the years, the practice, shifted from skin cancer into prevention and then anti-aging and aesthetics. And that's really what I focus on full time now. So it's been a great journey.
That's great. Wow. So 15, huh?
Yes. So long ago.
Bachelor's. How did you do the high school and college?
Dual enrollment?
I did. I started taking my first class when I was 10. And, we were in a small town. And there's a local college and both my parents are teachers. And so there wasn't a lot of, we didn't have like all the programs they have now, gifted and extra classes and flexibility. And so, my dad said, I was good in math. Why don't you take a class up here and at the college, at the university? And then he said, well, if you're going to take it, you should take it for real. So you take it seriously. And then I got hooked. It was fun.
Well, so overachiever, yay. I love it.
Wow.
Yes. We only have fun on here.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
That's pretty awesome.
And a lot of work, but a lot of fun.
Well, and has paid off because they're practicing. I've been to the one in the Viera area, and it's beautiful. I'm an interior designer. So
that means a lot coming from you.
Practice, really fabulous. So you said you're concentrating, so not a lot of skin cancer.
So we still do it in our practice, right? Because that is the reason really I moved to Florida, is that it's the state with the most skin cancer, and 1 in 4 Americans have skin cancer. And then you put Florida in the mix, it's 1 in 3. Over their lifetime. So so very common. So if you haven't had your annual skin check, it's important to. And then, I'm a newer dermatologist at the time and a female. And so the questions on skincare and anti-aging and beauty and prevention, all of that started coming up. And there was so much innovation, and there still is so much innovation in that area. Truthfully, how we do surgery hasn't changed over time.
Yeah.
Same scalpel, very similar sutures. But all the advances and this lifelong learning that I like, all of it was happening in the aesthetic world. And so I started doing more and more. And there's only so many hours in the day, so now I do a lot. But I work, thankfully, I work with, there's 4 physicians in our practice and 4 physician assistants. And so we're able to do the medical side, the insurance side, the skin cancer, acne, pigmentation, rosacea side, surgery side. And then I focus more on the aesthetic dermatology side now.
And that's what we're going to dig into today, because we are women of a certain age. I guess we've reached a certain age level, at least I have. And these
I'm
things
halfway
are
there.
are very important and interesting to us, at least. Yes.
Well, it's good to know. I mean, I think
Absolutely.
knowing your options is really important, because you
Yeah.
just people
Yes.
just usually just go.
And I tell people there's no age that is too early or too late.
Mhm.
It's just different. And people have time in their lives at different times, right? Different for some people, they start really young. So we see people in their 20s because
Yeah.
they're thinking about this already.
Yeah.
And then some people are didn't have time to think about it. They may have, their life may have been busy. They may not have had the finances or the downtime, or they just didn't think about it. And so sometimes the first time people are coming into our office are in their 70s or 80s.
Yeah.
And I think both both ends of the spectrum are great.
Yeah. Yeah, that's great, because some people think, oh no, it's too late for me.
Right.
Never too
Right.
late.
It's never too late. No.
And Dr. Saluja, Ingrid is an esthetician, so she's
Oh, that's great.
well aware
Practicing?
Yes.
Oh, wonderful. What's your most common treatment you do? Is it a facial most commonly, or?
Pretty much a facial, but we do a lot of peels. We don't. I think the highest one we have a TCA,
Mm-hmm.
but my favorite is like dermaplaning, radio frequency treatments. We do everything right before injectables.
Wonderful.
Yeah.
We send them,
and then you ship them off to Dr. Saluja.
Yes.
There you go.
Well, it's good because we have a few, but there's been a couple of discrepancies. So I'm excited to get to know you.
Yeah, and India Atlantic is just a
Love to refer.
little bit, down A1A.
Yeah. So what is so we're going to concentrate on beauty treatments, everything from injectables, but also things that we could do at home if we don't have the budget. But if asking you from a personal standpoint, looking at your profession, what is your favorite aspect of your profession? What makes you tick, and what makes you love to go into your practice every day?
I mean, I think my favorite aspect is it has to be the relationships that you develop with people over time through skincare. And, obviously our estheticians have these great relationships with people because they're seeing them maybe sometimes every month even for facial. And, but the neat thing about doing Botox so much, or one of the toxin treatments, is that I get to see patients every 3 to 4 months. And so if I'm doing that over years, it's really, really a relationship that develops, and you start to learn about other people's lives, and what's going on. Is there a wedding coming up? Was there an illness, or did someone move, or a kid graduate? And so all these life events, because especially people come in when there are life events to get even a little bit more done. So it becomes wedding season or graduation season, or a trip they want to get ready for. And so I really think it's that connection and kind of watching over time, really a lot of our patients aging in reverse. So everyone, by nature, we're critical of ourselves, right? And we also forget where we came from. So one of the beautiful things that I love about our profession is that it's so visual, and we can take photos. And so we can show patients our photos that we have of them, from 4 or 5 years ago, and they look so much better now. And when they see that, they get excited because they forgot.
Yeah, that's
they
true.
forgot.
That's interesting, because I would love to see. I mean, when I started doing injectables years back, it would be interesting to see the progression, kind of do a time lapse on
That is pretty
That'd be
cool.
interesting.
Yeah, it's kind of like going to the gym. Like when I tell people it's really about your timeline. If you come in and you want to be, you've been eating poorly or not taking care of yourself, and then you want to be in a bikini in a week, that's not realistic. But if similar with your face, if we slowly, and it's a journey, right? If we slowly add and keep working on it, then sometimes sometimes it's fast and, oh, we've got this great result. But other times, really the beauty of it is micro treatments over time and looking like yourself, and then a little bit better version of yourself, a little bit better version of yourself.
Yeah. Oh, and I have to say your tagline or something you told me that I just love. Injectables should not be detectable.
Detectable, right?
I love when I heard it, I was like, "Oh, that sounds so good."
Yeah,
yeah, it should be on a T-shirt. We got to get a T-shirt.
It should
Right?
be. It
Yeah.
should. Yeah.
Yeah.
I think that,
you know,
that's everything.
it's your face. You want to look like you, and I think there are some commonalities in beauty in that we want everything to look sort of average. We don't want anything to look really out of place or very enhanced compared to anything else. But there's also a personalization to it where you don't want to look like your friend. And so we really have to think about what are you bringing to the table that we may want to improve.
Yeah. Yeah. And that's also, you talking about the relationships being the kind of the most fun part of your job, or the what makes you tick. It's
Well, and you
getting that, and it's also so important, I think, that you build a relationship with someone. It's the trust. I mean, you
Yes.
don't want anyone to just inject stuff in your face. You want that trust because you know my face.
right. Right. I think it's nice to see people get braver over time as well, right? They're starting, a patient may come in and very, very nervous or worried, and just put a little, like a little Dysport here, just a little, and then over time, do what you want, do it, and so I'm
Yeah.
open. And so to watch the nerves turn into an openness is really kind of
That's
fun. And that only develops the relationship. It's, if you keep, it's not ideal to switch around and go, it's just with anything, right? With hair, with a trainer, with a doctor. So I think that consistency really pays off over time.
Yeah. No, that's great. Love it. She took me out of my comfort zone. That's all I'm gonna say.
Right. Yeah.
That is pretty good, because
and you look better for it, but then you also grow from that a little bit in other ways. So I think that's the other part, is saying, okay, well, I've got a little more confidence, or this is, I feel good. And then that translates to other improvements in life, which is really.
That also comes from you too, as being confident in what you do, knowing I can push her just enough,
right?
Allow her to help, for me to help her, and then after that she was like, "What do you see how good I look?" And then now when she goes back to you, you're like, "Okay, do whatever." But no, but it's, I mean, I do it as, I don't do injectables, but as an esthetician, that's one of my favorite things when they come in and I'm like, "Oh, so what are you thinking of getting today?" They're like, "Whatever you want." I'm like, "Oh, what I want?" I'm like, "Oh, yes."
Yeah.
It's so exciting to have that.
Yeah.
That's the one thing you do learn over time, and with age, even I do in other fields, is like, just where you have an expert, release some control and let the expert guide you, because more often than not, you do better that way, right? And it's more relaxing for you to relinquish some of control, explain your goals, communicate your goals or what's bothering you, so there's some idea of where to start, but then be open to the experts' guidance and opinions, because they just do it more, right? You see more similar in interior design or style. You already have a vision because you've seen it. And so,
and returning clients, because I have the privilege of having people come back for either more rooms or new homes, and then when they worked a couple of times, they're like, "Well, you just do your thing," and then
send me a bill.
Yeah. Love it.
Right.
All right, so let's talk about, because you hear a lot and you see on the news, and there's a lot of like new procedures and the best. And what are the biggest trends when it comes to beauty and skin right now? What procedures do people kind of come in?
Yeah. So, I mean, I think the most common procedure is still what we call a tox treatment. So the good news is there's 5 now on the market. And so it's not just Botox, there's Botox, and then there's Dysport, and now there's Xeomin and Jeuveau and Daxify, which is actually the only vegan and made in the US product. And that also lasts a little bit longer than some of the other ones. And then, kind of like it's like when you exercise and you have to switch your exercises a little bit over time to get different or better results. So you are not plateauing. It's nice to have the options because switching is sometimes beneficial because the body doesn't get as efficient in eliminating it. And so you get results longer. And then it's also nice, certain areas of the face or neck respond better to some products versus others. So I think really a trend is the variety. We have more choices than we've ever had. So it can get more confusing, which is nice to have a guide for that. But then it's also, more options are better than less, truthfully, in that you can customize more. So still the most common. The other neat thing in injectable trends is that everyone had such a focus on big lips, right? For a while, there's the Kardashian lips, big cheeks. And I think there's a lot more balancing being talked about. So, okay, where really your lips will look better, not just by enhancing the lips, but often by enhancing the chin and proportions and facial harmony. And to tie it to interior design, it would be, if you're changing one thing in the living room, you're changing the sofa, but everything else is the same. It doesn't fit as well as if you're thinking about paint color and floor or cushions or, various things. So I think people understand more that we don't want to just do one thing. We want to look at it in relation to the rest of the face. So I think where there's always been a focus on lips and cheeks, we're also looking at temples now and jawline. And so I think that's exciting. I think there's also this whole area of what's called biostimulators, which are fillers that stimulate your own collagen as well. So we're not just putting a Band-Aid on the problem. We're also restoring some of your youthfulness. So, for example, Sculptra is an injectable that doesn't work right away. It takes 3 months. So then you don't look done when you leave. You gradually build your collagen. You gradually rebuild contour or a little softness to the face. But it happens over time. And so you don't look changed. It's just over time, you look better.
That's great.
And that's nice because that slows down the aging process also.
Yeah.
And there's buzzwords. There's a buzzword right now called exosomes, and that's different than injectables, but exosomes are basically these little messengers that communicate with your skin to help it with anti-aging and with restoring and with healing. And so, you've heard about microneedling where we microneedle in the skin to help stimulate the skin. So now a lot of almost 3/4 of our microneedling treatments, we infuse exosomes or brightening products into the skin. So we're using those channels to deliver things deeper to the skin to give really a boosted microneedling treatment. So that's exciting. It's always nice when there's value added to something you're already getting done if we can enhance or boost it.
Yeah. So do you think that's the kind of the latest game changer in the industry, are the things that you can sort of add on to things that you already are doing? And
I definitely think that's one of them. We also love machines and our devices. It's like our toys in the industry.
Yeah.
And so one of the newer toys is called Elicor. And one of our problem areas that we've had just in general, that is just an area where people, what do we do? The jowls.
Oh,
and so
I just saw mine yesterday. I'm like,
they appear and they don't disappear.
Tell me more.
Once they're there. So it's always been very hard to address without surgery, right? And a lot of people are in this phase where they're not ready for surgery because it's maybe not severe enough, but it's hit the threshold of it's bothering them. And Elicor, basically, it's called microcores. So without surgery, without incisions, it in the office, after your face has been numbed, it removes little plugs of skin, plugs so tiny that when they heal, they don't leave any marks or scars, because such a tiny amount was removed. But so many plugs were removed that 5 to 7% of your skin was removed. And by having less skin, we have less gelling. And this can be repeated. So people will do a couple treatments. So that's really nice to help this area. So we now have done so much Ellacor this past year that we've been able to get a nice group of before and afters and to be able to see what Ellacor is doing. It heals within 5 days. So there's no pain in the healing, and people, you know, anything that has no pain and recovery within a week, people get really excited about.
Yeah.
Especially in our industry, right? So we're really excited about the future of Ellacor. We're now starting to use it on necks. We're starting to use it off the body where people have excess skin. So that's been exciting. I've also been doing a lot of thread lifts. So people who are not going to have surgery for a number of years, either they don't want to have surgery, you know, ever, or they don't want to have surgery for at least a few years, we will use dissolvable threads to lift the cheek, the jowl, and the side of the jaw. And what that does, you know, and a lot of these treatments work great in combination. So the more you combine things, the more you get. It's like a beauty cake, right? Layered cake. The more layers you have, the more your cake is fancy and things look good. So thread lifts reposition fat that has descended. And I've had a couple of thread lifts because this gets heavy and I look like I've gained weight when I have it. And then the 3 thread vectors lift the face.
Wow.
So it's really nice to be able to offer that instead of adding more filler and getting fuller faces, right? We don't want to keep adding.
Yeah, exactly.
We don't want bigger and bigger faces. We want to restore with filler, but not go beyond what's our natural volume. So this lifts the volume we already have that's fallen. So you combine that with removal of Ellacor with some Botox or Dysport, the Nefertiti lift, where we put 20 to 40 units along the jawline to help the muscles that pull down on the jowl. So now we've relaxed the muscles that pull down. We've got lift. We pull up the fat. We remove the excess skin. We do our skincare. We've got a really natural result of things that we can do in the office.
Mind blown.
And it used to be, you know, it used to be not long ago where we would say, oh, there's not much we can do. So this is, go ahead.
No, the only option was a facelift.
Right. So I think, I'm excited about these areas where we traditionally haven't been able to do a lot. Where we can do more, you know, and then some of our standard Juvederm Restylans now have indications for under eyes. So it was also under eyes we couldn't do much where we're worried about looking tired. I love it when people come and say I look tired or I look angry or I look sad, because really aesthetics is about improving the emotions, right? You want to still age gracefully, but we don't want to give off emotions we're not feeling. So we're not feeling angry. We don't want people to think we're angry. If we're not feeling sad, we don't want people to think we're sad. We're all tired, but we still don't want people to say we look tired, right? So,
oh, you look so tired.
That's such
a lot.
Might as well say,
like, you didn't need to tell me that, because I am. We all.
Yeah.
Are you not tired?
Yeah. This is fun. I love this. Yeah.
So like Restylane Eye Light helps the under eye area, and we didn't have that. Now, some people want no under eye hollows. Under eye hollows are normal. Go look at kids, look at toddlers, look at teens. We all have under eye hollows. So we want it softened, not removed.
Yeah.
I could talk about this all day. There's lots of always things changing.
So fun. So do we think that AI is going to explode in this field as well? Like, do personal tell you?
I wonder, you know, there's a science to this, but there's also an art. So I'm not sure how great AI is on the art part. Now, if AI could do my notes, that would be amazing, because then I could see a few more patients. So maybe on the documentation side, AI will help us, and maybe on the education side, the instruction side, the aftercare side. So some of the paperwork side is what I'm really truly hoping. I think on the art side, still to be determined. And I don't know if you've seen like even AI photos, they look too perfect. And I think something about being human is that we are not perfect. There's beauty in that. There was a great study at one point of showing our faces, and we're not symmetrical side to side. We're siblings, right? And there's even an app, and it showed that if you took your right and made it your left, or your left and made it your right, and so you were perfectly symmetrical either side, you weren't prettier. You looked off or odd. And so we don't want perfect symmetry. We want a little so AI is going to change everything, but remains to be seen on that side. And AI can't actually do the procedures yet. So
I don't know if I would trust a
because
robot.
it's so true. I mean, good doctors or anyone that does injectables, because I think nurses can do them too. But you got to be an artist in order to do it well, because it is really about seeing the result and seeing. So true.
So I think that, and as with anything, the more you do, the better you get at it. So there's an experience factor in anything, including procedures. And then there are, one of the hallmarks of the practice is we talk about skill, but we also talk about safety and synergy. And obviously the synergy part is the plastic surgery part, because there's a time where you should be seeing the surgeons. If your eyelids are droopy, it's life-changing to get the extra skin removed. When you have a facelift with various options, it's wonderful. And then there's safety aspect. We love talking about the fun parts of injectables, but I would categorize it more as a medical procedure than a beauty procedure, in that there's real risk of infection, scarring, blood vessels being blocked, things where you need to have, that's one of the reasons we don't like parties outside of the office. We want any quote unquote, this isn't Tupperware. We don't want to do injections outside of the office. We don't want to do them in the office. People faint. We want to be able to have the right tables, the right smelling salts, so nobody hits their head. Like, these are things we don't think about, because thankfully they're not common, but when they happen to you, that's all you care about is somebody able to take care of me and make sure that I'm better.
Exactly. No, I told you, Dr. Saluja, before, but I was at a Botox party once, and that was crazy. It didn't start as one, but it ended up.
I don't even like Tupperware parties. I would never ever go to a Botox.
Well, and it shouldn't be peer pressure, right? It should be what you want. So maybe bring one friend for comfort, or for just to make it something. So we do these things called Best Skin Fridays, where we let our patients bring a friend into the room and they can both get treated together. We do it the first Friday of the month, and it's a way to still make it something, but not where you're feeling like vulnerable. And then I think alcohol is great when done at the right times, but not with injections, because you want to understand your consent form, your instructions. You want to not have any regrets on what you did. So, have your alcohol later.
I also saw alcohol being consumed by the injector. So there you go.
Right. That happens. So, that's sort of the other side of our field. It's very vulnerable, and in skin in general, it's very vulnerable because it's accessible, right? Like the bowels or the heart are not as accessible, right? For everybody. So this is accessible. And so it's easier for people to say, oh, I know what to do. But it's still an organ system. Then it deserves some respect, right?
True. So true. So wise. Now, all of these things, I mean, great, but they're not cheap. They're not free.
Right.
So if someone is on a tighter budget, or want to get started, maybe it's reached that age, seeing something needs to be done, but I'm not sure exactly what, and I can't do everything. What would you say? Where should one start? What is a good starting position?
I think a skin regimen is your starting position always. We talk about the 5 R's in the practice. So the foundation is always regimen. Then we talk about resurfacing, relaxing, recontouring, refilling, redraping, but always regimen, because that's something you're doing every day and you're not dependent on anyone else. And it may not be flashy, but just like good nutrition, good sleep, it's really where you see the results over years. And it is not very expensive, right? It's just about discipline. So It can also be about motivation. So you want to find skincare you like to apply because you're touching yourself. This can be a nice activity. It doesn't have to be like, oh, another thing to do. So I think a skin regimen that you enjoy putting on, that's scientifically studied, that's designed for you is important. You know, we have, I have actually have a line called Saluja MD natural skincare line. And it's, one of my favorite parts of my line is the cleanser. And if you look at your cleanser's first ingredient, for most people, it's water. Mm-hmm. And so in the Saluja MD Refresh Cleanser, it's aloe. And aloe is another antioxidant. So we're looking at ways we can use the products we're using. We're going to cleanse. Might as well have an added benefit. Yeah. Obviously, we want everyone to put sunscreen on in the morning. But sunscreens now have hydration, have tint. So it can cover a few things in one product. And I think that's nice when you can have a multitasking product. So you're not having to put on so many layers, but you can get more than one benefit. I mean, there's also powdered sunscreens for somebody who wants sunscreen on the go. There's now sunscreen where you don't even feel it going on if you like, you know, feeling nothing on your skin. And then I think at night, it's nice to have your restorative and your corrective creams or serums. And that's where you work on wrinkle prevention, wrinkle correction, brown spots, brightening, acne. So whatever your concern or issue or your skin type is, you start building your regimen towards that. I think a lot of people get tired at night. So one of my tips is put your cleanser by your toothpaste, but your products at your nightstand. And so if you have a little nice box at your nightstand that's got all your skincare, then once you get in bed, you can put your skincare on, as opposed to saying, okay, I got in bed, I forgot my skincare, I don't want to get up.
That's a great hack.
I was waiting
for the day.
I'm like, she gave us a hack without even knowing.
Yeah, that's a great.
Yeah, I think, that's probably the common thing I hear, right? I just got tired and I went to bed. But I think that if you can put things together with things you're already going to do, you're already going to get into bed, you're already going to brush your teeth, you're already going to do this, then it helps. And so it's not, like overnight where you see changes, but if you're consistent, even if it's consistent for a couple of weeks, you should start to see the brightness, right? And the improvement in complexion. Yeah. That's really what I'd recommend at home. I know there's all these home devices, but frankly, we're so limited on time. So a lot of the devices, 15, 30 minutes, and that sounds great the first week. And then you continue beyond for every day of your life to add another thing for 15 or 30 minutes. Yeah. I think it's really hard. And I think that's where it's nice to come in, see your esthetician or our esthetician, see us, and then you've got, okay, I'm going to be in 4 times a year, or I'm going to do this and you give up some of that control and get some of that care.
That's great. So, but if we go further from, say that now I have a little bit of money and I want to try some procedure, anti-aging, what do you think is like the best place to start?
I think, so I'll tell you what the most common place to start is. Yeah. It's a tox treatment. Yeah. Right. And why is it that? It is that because not time, no downtime, less kind of immediate gratification in 1 week. Yeah. And there's something about toxin, about your Botox treatment that is, you feel better. So when it kicks in, there's a sense of relaxation or and a sense of lifting, especially if you're getting it to lift brows or lift. Often our mood follows our muscles. And so if our muscles feel more relaxed, we feel more relaxed. Or if we kind of reduce the activity of the muscles that are anger or sad muscles, we feel happier. So so that's the entry, right? Often the entry because of its accessibility and because you can see it. And so you become a believer, or you start to say, okay, I see that. I think our other main thing is resurfacing, right? Whether that's with laser or microneedling or hydrofacials or chemical peels. I mean, chemical peels have been around for years, and they're some of the best things you can do for your skin. They're painless now. They don't sting like they used to. You peel in a few days, and I think you get that stimulation and that sort of targeted injury that really helps your body repair and your skin repair. And I think we often forget about it because it's been around for so long and not very expensive. So I like those aspects. And I also think that you can, one of the things in Florida is we get so much sun. So we have spots on our face. And I think it was Procter & Gamble did a study at one point that showed they put people in a box or in like a clear phone booth and asked other people to rate their age. This was like in New York or something. And people with spots or complexion issues always were rated older. It didn't matter that you had crow's lines. So don't chase your crow's lines. They're smile lines, they're happy lines. People don't view that as aging. But brown spots, red spots, complexion issues do. And I think sometimes we go to the injectable when we still have sun damage on the face. And, you both have lovely skin. It's all nice and clear, but most in Florida do not. And I think it's worth improving the complexion first.
That is such a valid point. Yeah. Well, I've noticed over the last couple of years, now I've lived in Florida for 18 years, I'm starting to see the spots. And, but I wasn't as hung up on them. But you know what? It's true. When you look at people in pictures or in person, those are quite telling. It's, yeah. That's a great.
There's a device we have called broadband light, and there's a program. It's called BBL for short. Forever Young. It's a program, and they took 100 patients and looked at their photos over 10 years, and they got broadband light 2 to 3 times a year, and their photos 10 years later were rated younger than their initial photos by both experts and friends. So. And then they said, well, why? So when they did skin biopsies, it showed that the collagen was more and more uniform and regular, the elastin, all the things we're looking for in skin, the hydration was improved, and there were actually genetic changes in the skin from the way the light interacted. So not all light is bad for skin health. And even some sunlight is good, but it's just not too much, right? And so, and in some cases, like broadband light or intense pulse light, it's really healthy for your skin.
So, how do you feel about red light?
Red light is not damaging to the skin. It's beneficial. It is weaker than a broadband light or an intense pulse light in that it is more preventative than corrective. Okay. It also depends on the number of lights and the power of those lights in the devices. So there are some devices that, again, right, you have to put this on regularly. And so if your light does not have power or number of lights, you're getting less benefit. So I think of that as something for someone who's already done everything, right? They're already on a great skin regimen, just similar to how collagen drinks help, but only if you're already doing the basics. Yeah. You're already doing skincare. It shouldn't be where you go first.
Yeah.
Now, red light as part of a treatment's really or after a treatment's really helpful for healing, helping with redness and calming things. So I think there's times where it's really helpful. Yeah. Or those people that are just, this is their hobby, they're enthusiasts, skin enthusiasts, then I think, yes, add it.
Skin enthusiasts, aren't we?
Right?
Yeah, but it's you see a lot of red light devices, and the gym where I work, we have one of those red light beds, and I try to go to it at least 3 times a week. But I feel it in recovery and
kind of recovery from procedures or recovery from just working out is where.
Yeah, I see it, but I'm sure it's beneficial.
You look great.
I see a lot of those masks and things out now.
And think about it. Sometimes just doing that gives you time for yourself. Usually breathe slower. You're getting improved circulation. You're you're thinking about how it's helping you. So there are benefits from just that pause.
That's true. And we talked about meditation last week.
Yeah.
That's your meditation time. Right. There you go. So where do you, if you look in your crystal ball, where do you see the industry, 5 years from now? Where do you think the advancements are coming? Do you have any, what do you call it?
Foreseen future?
Missions.
So I think there's going to be continued growth. right? I think this is, we're growing and interested people, more people are interested. There's more information as well as misinformation, but more information. There's more treatments. There's definitely more emphasis on prevention in younger patients. I feel like are, I've got a 19 and 22-year-old, and they know more about skin than I knew at their ages. And so I think people are starting earlier. There's more knowledge. And so there will be more growth in prevention. I think the restorative and biostimulation, where we're working on our own body's capabilities and enhancing them. And I think the merge of aesthetics and wellness, the merging where health plays a role in how we're looking. I think surgery is always going to be there because there are things that surgery does that nothing else does. And it's very, I tell people all these devices, like we have a great device called SoftWave. It's ultrasound heat and it's no downtime, which that will also grow, right? People are interested in no downtime, no recovery. It tightens the skin. You can do it in the office, all skin types, right? No matter what else. The growth is also happening in darker complexion. It used to be there wasn't as much that could be done for people with brown skin. So now there's more. So I think there's growth there. But we don't know how much the device is going to do. So yes, there's no downtime. And yes, we're going to see in 3 months how much improvement did we get. But with surgery, it's so precise. You know exactly what you're removing and the lift you're having. So I think that there's still space for that precision in aesthetics. I think combining things, I don't like to call it girl math because that's sexist, but beauty math, when you combine things, 2 + 2 is 5, the more you combine, you get a compound benefit.
Yeah.
So sometimes we're putting same devices on the same day, or getting your tox treatment and a peel the same day you get an enhanced thing.
I love your beauty cake analogy too. I'm going to use that. That's good.
Yeah, right. More layers.
Yeah.
More layers. But I also think that not everything's for everyone. We have so much on our plates in limited time that I think it's really nice to pick. Okay, this is my this is what I'm going to do this year.
Yeah.
And this is, what I might do later.
Yeah.
So we don't get overwhelmed.
Yeah.
I think it's really easy to get overwhelmed.
Yes, it is. And once you start nitpicking at yourself as well, then you want to.
And I think too, that's another thing. When people start, they feel like once they start, it's okay. This is it. Like it's going to be a long road. So I think knowing you have options and understanding the cumulative effect of everything, that everything works together, it just makes it a little easier to understand that, okay, this is what I can do, like you said, this year, this is what I can do in 6 months. And it gives them like a roadmap versus we've always been under the impression that you have to fix this one thing.
Right.
And it's so eye-opening. Because I see it all.
And, and I think people also ask like, oh, if I start this, does this mean I have to do this forever?
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
And that's a common question. And it's, no, you don't. You're better off, just like with anything good, right? For you, if you've done it for 3 years and then you have to pause for 5 years, that's okay. That 3 years you helped yourself, and there's some carryover benefit. So we'll often see sometimes something stressful happens in their life, or they're taking care of another person, or they didn't have a job for those couple of years, and I won't see them, and then they'll come back, but they still look better than they did in the beginning because they were consistent for at least a little while. Yeah. So I think not to worry that you might take a break. You might, but that's okay. Then get back on when you can.
Yeah, it's not all going to be wasted.
Right. Right.
Yeah, I think do you feel or think that because again, prices, I mean, a lot of these things are not cheap, but do you think with being more common, more things coming out, will be a little more accessible for people, like the toxins, for instance, or
I think you have to be careful on toxins because if something is too cheap, you have to worry, right? Because there is product that gets illegally imported, and that's not, it's actually very common even in our area. And that creates not as much consistency. And if you've ever had a side effect, then you never want it again, right? So consistency matters. And so if people are, and actually the interesting part is toxin is one of the few things that hasn't increased with inflation that much, like over 10, I think my cost of toxin that I charge patients is the same as it was 10 years ago, even though the cost of product has almost doubled. And so I think we've gotten more efficient, and it's an easier procedure as we've learned more about it for us to do, but it really hasn't increased as much as the rest of the market. Now, people are getting a lot more areas treated. People used to get this treated, and now people are like, let's do around the mouth, let's do the jawline, let's do the neck, let's do the nose, let's slim my nose with toxin, let's flip my lip with toxin, so there's so many more things, and so obviously that adds more units. So I think it's prioritizing when you have a financial comfort zone you're trying to stay in. And I think that's skincare, and then picking those areas that make you look angry, tired, sad, and not worrying about every line. Looking at where have I lost the most bone? Let's restore that. Let's not try to do too much. So I think there's a lot of, most practices at this point and most companies have loyalty programs. So there's ways to save with loyalty. There's ways to save by, for example, here's coming up all the time right now. People are on Ozempic, right? So they're losing lots of weight. So that's going to be costly for skin because a lot of people are losing weight too rapidly.
Yeah.
And so the Ozempic face isn't really from the medication, it's from the rapidity of the weight loss. They're taking a dose that's getting the weight to go off too fast, and we really don't want to lose more than a pound a week. If we start to lose more than that, our skin cannot bounce back. And we don't want to take that medicine without also working out so that we're building some muscle, because all of we do want muscle. We don't want some of the muscles that are pro-aging, but we want muscle strength in general.
There's certain muscles we don't want.
Yes.
So I think that weight fluctuation may be more costly than not. So I think doing some of your basic stable weight, slow weight loss, Dr. Novo, my partner, recently talked about sugar sag. And I think my sag's from sugar sag because I end up having dessert every day. But she was talking, the science is showing more sugar, more skin sag. So there are things that are really minimal cost, avoiding a lot of sugar that can slow down aging, and you won't need as many procedures. Wearing your protecting your face from sun. Those sorts of things, are minimal cost.
It's exactly what you talked about before. It's the looking at things more holistically and looking at things not from just isolated standpoint, but how things affect each other. But that's so true. So the healthy living that we always are proponents of is so important.
Yes.
The 80-20 rule, right? 80% of the time, try to.
Yeah, that's right. No, that's such a great point. So anything else that you feel we haven't touched on in this area that is a good, you dropped so many value bombs that it's really, it's great. Love it.
Yeah, I think we've talked about a lot of things, and this is just an introduction, right? It's not, if you take one thing away and get a relationship as an esthetician and a dermatologist, ask, like we talked about earlier, what would you do for my skin or face if it was yours?
Yes.
I think that allows us to give you more guidance.
That's a great.
Would you please outline a plan for me for the year, given this is my budget or financial comfort, so that I have an idea of what you would prioritize? I think being honest about those communications is helpful. If you just nod your head and then don't do anything because we were way off the mark in recovery or budget, or then that's not good either.
That's a great point. Saying, this is my budget, what would you do? That's a great.
I love this time of year, like patients who will say, or we'll have this conversation. Do you want me to outline my thoughts for the year for you so you can plan? It's kind of like planning a vacation, only it's a beauty staycation. You say, what am I going to do? how much is it going to cost? Now I feel I've got something to look forward to. I've got some structure around it.
Yeah.
I'm treating it like a staycation, like a happy thing.
Love that. That is so good. I have never done that. That's great.
Right? Yeah.
Yes.
Well, I mean, with
Fabulous.
anything, I mean, it's like you said, when you get into your skincare, if they go in to see you and they don't do skincare, they don't eat good, they don't work
Yeah,
out, it's like
yeah.
you're fighting against them.
Yeah.
And it's just like, well, it's
And
so
we
much.
can do, right. We can do it. You're just going to spend more money. So it's okay.
Yeah,
It's
Exactly.
okay, right? I always want to be accessible to all comers, right? Any age, any weight, any discipline level, because part of it is supposed to be a little bit where we just take care of you. But I think if we're looking at how are we minimizing expense, then we got to do
you got to do the work.
the other things. Yeah.
So great. Yes.
Mm.
Well,
You know,
thank you for so much for taking. I know you're going to rush
my
back
pleasure.
to
Yes.
treat more. But before we go, last question. Do we prefer high heels or
Oh my
flats?
gosh. Oh, well, flats for home and work and high heels for the weekend.
Amen to
I love
that.
it.
I
So-
actually have an order of both flats and high heels coming in today, so I'm excited to see if anything fits.
Fun. So we're gonna link links to your websites and all of your information, but just tell the viewers and listeners, where is the quickest, easiest way to get to kind of connect with you?
www.foryourbestself.com. So foryourbestself.com is our website. For Your Best Self is our podcast. Our phone number is 321-241-1160. We have a lot of great team members. You know, we can't do any of this alone. We have to have an outstanding team to help support us, and they have roles that are educative in nature, and we have consultants that will spend time for people that maybe it's just their start. And so I think it's reaching out through the web or through the phone.
Yeah. And you have a great you also have Instagram.
Yeah, we have Instagram, Dr. Saluja _ Dr. Novo, and Facebook, and YouTube.
Yeah.
All
We'll
kind of in
link
that.
that in the show
Yeah.
notes for you. So
Whatever modality you like, right? That's these days. Do you like to listen? Do you like to read? Do you like to watch video?
Right.
Do you like to, yeah.
we want to make sure we cover all the
Yes. I have no excuse to check you out.
Right.
Well, again, thank you so
Well,
much for educating, enlighten, and I've gotten a lot of new good ideas here. I feel so hopeful.
it is, right? It's supposed to, it's supposed to be fun a little bit.
Yes, it is. So we always do a little cheers before we go. So until next
time.
Yeah.
Cheers.
Cheers.
Cheers. Thank you for having me.
Thank you.
It was great to meet you.
Thank you.